Hey y'all, I'm Edmund.
And I'm Heather.
And this is All Positive Reviews. So the last bucket list movie we did was a favorite of ours, Pulp Fiction, from Quentin. And now we're going to France.
Yes.
With Amélie. Which I don't remember the name of the director, but it is the same one who did Alien Resurrection.
The one, as I call it, Alien Winona Ryder.
Yes.
Or I love that one.
Or Alien Joss Whedon.
Yes, there we go. Either one works.
Now, neither of us have seen this movie before.
No.
So this should be fun for our all positive review.
Yes. A disclaimer really fast, something I have to say ahead of time, is this movie has subtitles, which I'm a big not liker in because I can't read them. I'm super dyslexic with Lynn syndrome and all sorts of stuff, so subtitles are way too hard for me to read, especially when they are white.
Yeah.
Because white, for some reason, with a white background and white stuff that goes on in the background, I just can't see it. And so when we were watching City of God, the subtitles were in yellow, and it was actually a lot easier for me to follow. I didn't have a problem with that one. Recently, we watched other ones, and it's been harder to follow with the white words. This one as well. Especially with this one because it was white words and there was a lot of really pretty background, but it was moving a lot. Almost made me feel like I had like vertigo or something. So I decided to stop reading what was going on in the subtitles. And I just watched the movie. So most of mine is going to be based around what I saw visually from the movie, which actually, after talking to you afterwards, explained quite a bit. This was a really visual movie. I followed along very well.
Yeah, like the actors do such an excellent job of emoting facially, and the whole story is told visually from the character, the titular character Amélie's perspective.
Yeah.
And you really get inside her head and just the way that she'll supplant anything bad or that she can't explain or doesn't know with whatever comes to her mind.
Yes. It's just, and it's so fun. And I think it was really easy because I think my brain works a little bit like hers does, where she escapes into her mind for explanations for anything, really. And sometimes they do not make sense and they're not correct at all. But, you know, that's what happens sometimes. And to bring it back to her, what a great actress. I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything else.
Yeah, I'm not sure for myself either, but she did a fantastic job.
Great. Like, I loved her. I loved her character. I loved how she played her character. And again, she was just so good at emoting with her face and with those eyes of hers that were so huge and so telling as to every emotion that was going on with her. It was great.
Yeah, she was, and what I loved about her was the way that they handle kind of her anxiety, like how it shows up in the form of, like you called it, the true Hollywood story of her life.
Yes, and that's one of the things that I feel like I really felt for her on. It was like, she would just be there and anything that would have happened would play out this huge dramatic thing in her mind. Or like when he's late. And when he's late and her brain just immediately anxiety kicks in and you see it as like this mini film going on in her head where all these things have happened just because he's like a couple minutes late.
Whole plot lines involving Afghan pirates and the Russian military.
It was terrible.
Parce que 3 truands multirécidivistes qui venaient de braquer une banque l'ont pris en otage. Poursuivis par tous les flics du département, ils ont réussi à l'esmer. Mais lui a provoqué un accident. Quand il a repris conscience, il ne se souvenait de rien.
And he was just a couple minutes late. But that's how it happens in your head. And just everything she did, every choice she made was just wonderful.
Yeah, and it made for a very emotional movie. Like, I wasn't surprised how much I laughed because I heard how much of kind of like, this is like a heartwarming, uplifting movie and stuff. But I cried a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, just like especially when starting with the dude with the box that she finds in her apartment.
Yeah, when she finally pieces it all together. Yeah. At that moment, yeah.
Yeah, and that whole realization that he had about his place in life just really got to me.
Yeah, when she's just standing next to him, hearing him. No, and it was great.
Moi, j'ai une fille, elle doit avoir à peu près votre âge. Ça fait des années qu'on ne s'est pas parlé. Il paraît qu'elle a eu un enfant, un garçon. Il s'appelle Lucas. Je crois qu'il serait temps que j'aille leur rendre visite avant de finir à mon tour dans une petite boîte. Vous croyez pas?
You just really, like, there's nothing, there are sad things in the movie, especially when you go to her backstory.
Yes.
Which the child actress who played her was great.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
I felt so bad for her.
Yes.
But most of the time when I cried, it was because of just how much joy and kindness was actually on screen. Like, it was like watching Mr. Rogers, except crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. She thinks she's Zorro.
Yeah, she thinks she's Zorro. And it's funny because, you know, when it starts from her childhood to her thinking she causes a lot of bad things, kind of, like all these things happen around her that are icky, so that when she gets this opportunity to do this good thing and it works out, she just is on this kick of, I have to do everything good.
Yes.
I have to help everyone I meet. Like, I'm going to help them all. And it's just adorable to watch her on this, like, high of helping people.
Yes.
You know?
And it's so warm because of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's also tense because of how crazy she is.
Yeah.
Because, like, yes, she's helping stand up for the grocer's son who gets, you know, verbally abused by the grocer every day. She's doing it by breaking into his house repeatedly.
Yeah, she's not going about things in a normal way, maybe, but in the end she ends up okay. And I love the fact the people that she's made friends with and the people that she does talk to, her little group of people, see her doing these things, and yet instead of kind of stopping her, they just kind of play into it. And while she's helping people behind their backs, like her dad, she helps her dad behind his back, and the woman that lives downstairs, she's helping them behind their backs. Like, they don't know that this is what she's trying to do or that she's doing this. Her friends are also doing that right back to her.
Yeah, because they know what kind of an introvert she is, which is a nice undercurrent. Like, she's wants to be an extrovert so bad, but secretly.
Oh yeah, no. She's very quiet. And I love those moments where she's like, no, I'll just not say it. You know, and she just goes right back. And it's adorable to watch all the different people try to help all the different people in the movie. It's so warm and loving. Also, the older man.
Yes, I love the older man, the painter, who he basically has Samuel L. Jackson from Unbreakable disease. Yeah. But not evil.
Very kind.
Who gets what's going on with her and tries to communicate with her in her own way. Yes. Which, it's a great undercurrent for this movie, for something that is just a kind of warm, escapist kind movie. It's also a nice blueprint for if you have someone who's introverted or kind of an outcast.
Different, you know?
Yeah, of, you know, learn what they're like and communicate with them on their terms.
It reminded me a lot of Lars and the Real Girl in that way, of just learn how to communicate with whoever it is. And then you might have a really good relationship. They might be the most interesting or loving or wonderful person you'll meet. Just maybe learn how to communicate with that person.
Yeah, that's a great comparison.
You know?
Vous pouvez vous cogner à la vie si vous laissez passer cette chance. Alors avec le temps, c'est votre cœur qui va devenir aussi sec et cassant que mon squelette. Alors, allez-y, nom d'un chien.
And kind of like Lars and the Real Girl, but tuned up even more. You mentioned how gorgeous this is.
Oh, it's so beautiful. So just interestingly shot.
Yeah, the colors just pop like they're in a Wes Anderson movie. Yeah. Since you're in her head, you're constantly seeing things come to life around her, like parts of her apartment, or when she feels embarrassed, like melting into a puddle. Yes. All these different little visual things in her head and her crush's head.
Yes. Yes, the other people in there have their own little parts of oddness too, and I love when you get to switch to him and see how he thinks. And I love how everyone in it is a little odd.
Yeah, everybody likes or dislikes really specific to them things.
Yes, and I love how that's explained. It's so visually explained.
Yeah, it's a movie that kind of takes joy in those little mundane quirks that make people people. Yeah. And you really feel like this French little suburb is a real breathing place full of all these characters every single day. It's so detailed.
Yes.
And yeah, I love spending time in this little nook of the world.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a lived-in town, a town where you can tell it has so much history and so many. I love all the rich people and the rich characters and everything. I also love the cafe.
Yeah,
and the relationships of everyone who works in that cafe and how they all kind of get along with each other. And the guy who's constantly jealous of the girl.
I know, tape recording every transgression. And popping bubble wrap.
And just getting frustrated with this girl, and then she like diverts his attention.
Yep.
But then he just goes back to being exactly who he is.
Yep.
But now the two girls have something to talk about.
Right. It still ended up for the better.
Right. The one isn't concentrating on her hypochondriacness as much, and now they're just complaining together. It's funny how things worked out and didn't for some, and it's just very cute.
That's the perfect word for it, is cute, but in the best way. Like, this is cute squared.
Yeah, I'm not meaning cute like, oh, that's cute. It's cute at its highest.
Yes. Like, I never thought I would enjoy watching photoshopped pictures of a gnome across the world.
Yes. Like, that was just the cutest part ever to fix, her dad. It's just like, they wanted to travel and then they couldn't, so she sends the gnome out traveling.
Yep.
And it's just so funny to watch his faces as he's just like, oh, what is going on? Why is my gnome over here? Like, what is this?
I know, in a weird way, it's the most positive form of gaslighting I've ever seen him.
It really is. Like, if that's how, if you're gonna gaslight someone, just watch this movie and follow her. And you know what? That's okay, because at least she's just doing it for the good of everyone, I guess. Like, it's just so adorable how she does that, but she's just doing it to fix everything.
Right. And man, it's just really joyful and adorable movie.
It really is.
I'm so glad we watched it.
I'm very, very glad we watched it. Like, that's one of there's been a few, especially with recently doing the SAG movies runs, which is why we've been so busy, is doing all the SAG awards stuff, which we'll have our own SAG awards soon.
Oh yes.
Doing all that, I got to see a lot of movies like on the poster that I normally wouldn't watch.
Right.
And it's been very interesting to see how many of them that, like, while I still admit probably not something I would watch very often, really enjoyed and really am glad I had to watch them because of these things, and really was, I'm happy that I saw them.
I'm so glad, because I also enjoyed the hell out of this thing. It just put a massive smile on my face the entire time.
Yes, and I enjoyed, like, because I said, like, I didn't read it, I just had to kind of guess what was going on throughout, so we did take breaks. I'd be like, wait a minute, is this what's happening? Am I on the right track? And it was fun because every time we would just laugh at what was going on and how the whole thing fits together.
It actually allowed us to have an opportunity to really appreciate every line of this kind of thing and every interaction. Yeah. Which you really have to, because this movie's quick.
Very quick, and they talk so fast, and they're doing so much, which is great. I get it. It's the move of the movie. Yeah, so it's wonderful.
Yep. Do you have anything else you want to say about it, or we?
I mean, we didn't quite hit on all the characters, but they were all wonderful characters.
Yes.
Like, I think the only one I didn't like was the one you're supposed to not like, which isn't saying anything about his acting abilities.
No, he was funny.
Yeah, he was great, actually. But as for all the other people, I really enjoyed watching them. They all did a great job. I don't know any of these people because, like, it's a French movie, so I'm not familiar with those actors very much. But whoever they are, they were all amazing. All of them were amazing.
No, I'd agree, and I think the director did a very good job assembling all of them. Props to the casting, especially for getting the younger version of Amélie, because they matched up very, very well.
And the boy.
Yes.
Because when you see the one boy and then you get to live through his flashbacks for that little bit when you get to know him, his boy matched up really well too.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, they did a great job with that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, very great movie. Highly recommend it.
Now, this was such a warm, cozy blanket of a movie, full of positive emotion. But next on the bucket list, a lot of arguing.
Oh, yes.
In 12 Angry Men, one of my favorite courtroom movies ever.
I can't wait.
Even though there's no courtroom, it's just all the jury. But it's still great. And we're going to have an all positive review of it next time.
Yes.
But if you can't wait, we have plenty of things down below. We have now Quentin Tarantino. Yay! We got Game of Thrones and Marvel and Star Trek. Other bucket list stuff like with Batman and City of God and lots of other great stuff. Anything that you guys want to suggest for us down below, we will do. Not just movies and TV. We can do lots of stuff, including our own SAG Awards.
Oh, yes.
So, stay tuned for that. And until next time, thank you so much for checking in with us today. Have a great and positive rest of your evening. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great time. Bye.